198.8. That's a number on the scale. It's my number this morning, and it's the highest I've been since 1999. I'm going to tell you what that number means in a minute, but first I want to tell you something I figured out about myself and maybe about you. If you've ever started something good, done it well, and then watched it quietly disappear from your life without ever deciding to quit. Because that's the thing I keep doing. And today I'm going to stop pretending I have it solved. I'm not here as a man who's got discipline figured out. I'm here as a man who has lost the same weight twice in his life, really lost it all the way, and put it back on both times. So I'm not going to teach you how to be consistent. That would be a lie, and you'd smell it. What I can do is something more useful. I can show you exactly how a man who knows how to win still ends up back at the start because I've done it twice, and I'm living it the third time around right now. If you've got a thing you keep beginning and dropping, a gym, a prayer habit, a project, a discipline that you know works when you do it, stay with me. I think the reason it keeps dying isn't the reason you've been telling yourself. Let me take you back to 1999. I hit 205 pounds, the most I'd ever weighed. I'm 5'9", and that's a lot of man on a short frame. I was out on the Atlantic Ocean on a friend's boat, and there's a picture of me steering the boat. And that was where I first recognized that there was a problem because I saw how big I was, and that made me feel extremely uncomfortable. So I came back, and it happened that everybody in my office needed to drop some weight around me at the same time. Atkins was the thing back then. So we made it a challenge, the whole office together, all in. I stayed in the strict phase almost the whole way, and the weight came off fast, nearly a pound a day for 45 days, and it was gone, and it stayed gone all the way to 2010 before it ever started creeping back. Now, I remember getting past that 45 days and going to a place called Cork and Fork. It was a deli, and they had these great French fries that were steak fries. They were seasoned and crisp and done well, and I loved those fries. And I hadn't had any carbs for 45 days. And so when I dove into that bowl of fries, I could only eat a few, and I was full. Now, here's the detail I want you to catch, because for years, I told it like a fun little fact, and it's not a fun little fact. It's the whole point. Everybody in that office said they were doing it Atkins. Same rules, the same plan, same challenge, but I was the only one who actually lost the weight. Everybody got mad. I remember they were really upset because I was actually doing it. The plan wasn't the difference. We all had the plan. The difference was that I was definitely doing the thing, and most of them were doing the version of the thing that let them say they were doing it. There's a gap between the real thing and the believing, looking, copying of the real thing. So hold on to that. We're going to come back to that. Fast forward to 2022, completely different story. This one wasn't a plan. This one was a walk. I wanted to get into better shape to feel healthier. So I started walking, just walking, building up day after day, a mile, then more. And somewhere in there, I asked my pastor how I could go deeper in the Word. He told me to read a gospel a day for 30 days. It took me about 6 months before my body could carry both at once, but once it could, that's when I got the idea to do two things braided together. I'd walk and I'd read. Phone in my hand, Bible app open, reading the Gospels as I went. Not listening, I was reading. One step, one line. And I got all the way up to 8.5 miles a day. You got Matthew and you got Luke, and they're long. I got down somewhere around 175 to 180, but honestly, the weight was almost beside the point. I wasn't disciplining myself towards a number. I was doing something I loved every day, and my body just followed. And here's the picture I keep going back to, the one that tells me who I actually am when I'm at my best. Some of those walks were at night, pitch black, the kind of dark where you can't see your own feet. I'm walking alone on broken sidewalks, uneven slabs, grass pushing up through the cracks, the kind of ground that's built to catch your toe and put you down. We're talking sometimes 11:30 at night. No street lights. This was places that were damaged during the floods of 2008 and had not been rebuilt. The houses are gone. It's empty. It's pitch black. And in my hand is a screen bright enough that is blinding me to the dangers that are at my feet. I can't even see the ground I'm walking on. Eyes on the word and not a stumble, not a trip, not a miss. I didn't know it at the time, but I was living out the whole thing I'm trying to say to you. A man walking through the dark on the ground that should trip him with his eyes on the light in his hand. And the light is so bright it hides the danger and he doesn't fall. That's what faithfulness looks like when it's working. That's me at my best. And I want you to remember that picture, because where this episode goes next is the part where I lost it. I didn't end because I quit. I want to be clear about that because it matters. My mother got sick. They told us she had less than 6 months. She lasted 6 weeks. And then my dad, 96 years old, wanted to stay in the house. He didn't want to die in a nursing home, so I said I'd move back so he wouldn't have to. And the walk stopped. Not because the discipline failed, because I sat it down to go carry something heavier. That's not quitting. That's a man laying down his own good thing to do a harder, more sacrificial thing. And my father passed in September of 2023. Now, you might think the next part of the story is that I never got back on because of the grief, that getting back to it meant stepping over my parents' deaths to do it. But that's not actually true, and I don't want to hand you a tidy version that isn't honest. Here's what really happened. And more than a year after my dad was gone, I moved into a new house and I bought a treadmill. Brand new, and I've used it 2, maybe 300 miles on it since I bought it. And every single time I get on it, I feel better within days. So if it works and I like it and it makes me feel better that fast, why do I stop doing it? I'll tell you the real reason. And it's quieter and more ordinary than I wish it were. I just don't think about it. That's it. I get swept up in everything else. The work, the projects, the lists, the things that are loud and right in front of me, and the treadmill just slips out of my head. By the time I'd remember it, the day's already gone. I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it the next day. It doesn't lose the fight. It never gets into the fight. The treadmill doesn't buzz my phone. It doesn't send me a notification. It doesn't shout. And a thing that depends on me spontaneously remembering it against everything that's in my day that's screaming for my attention, that thing loses every time. Not because I don't want it, because nothing in my day puts it in front of me. So this was never a willpower problem. I keep thinking the answer is that the discipline needs to show up, that I need to want it more, but I already want it. Wanting it was never the thing that was missing. Paul wrote this in Romans chapter 7, and the first time I really heard it, it stopped me because it's my whole struggle in his mouth. I do not understand what I do, for what I want to do, I do not do, but what I hate to do, and a little further down, for I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. That's not a man with a character defect. That's the most influential follower of Jesus who ever lived, telling you that the gap between wanting the good and doing the good is just part of being human. So if Paul lived in that gap, I can stop being shocked that I live there too. And the point isn't to feel better about the gap. The point is to stop blaming the gap on willpower and start asking a better question. So here's the better question. Not why do I keep dropping things, but why do some things survive in my life when others die? Because here's what's funny. This is what you're watching right now. It's episode 44 of a 50 episode series that I should have been doing every day. I am right now living proof of the exact consistency that I spent this whole episode telling you I don't have. So why does this survive and the treadmill doesn't? It's not that I want this more. I think the answer is that this series has 3 things the treadmill never had. Number 1, it's public, you're watching, and if I miss, it's visible. The treadmill is private, nobody sees the day I skip. It's counted. There's a number that goes up, 44, 45. The treadmill has no counter. Every day skipped just vanishes without a trace. And it has a finish line. Episode 50. I can see the end. The treadmill is open-ended. It just stretches out forever with no edge to reach. Public, counted, finite. The treadmill is none of those. It's private, uncounted, and open-ended, and it runs on nothing but remembering it, which is the one thing I've already told you I don't do. I didn't fail the treadmill because I'm weak. I failed it because I never gave it the scaffolding I gave this series. The things that last in my life aren't the things I want most. They're the things that don't depend on me remembering them because the structure remembers for me. And let me show you the trap because I walked right up to it in my own head this week, and you probably walked up to it too. When I finally pictured really committing to this, here's what I told myself. Make it number 1, top priority, never miss, because one miss would take me off course. Hear what that actually is. That's not a plan, that's a tripwire. I'm a man who just told you plainly that he gets distracted and forgets, and then I designed a practice where the very first distracted day kills the whole thing. That's perfectionism wearing discipline's clothes. And it's exactly why all or nothing men stay at 0. When the standard is never miss, the first miss doesn't cost you a day. It costs you the whole thing because now it's broken and broken things get abandoned. Notice this. Neither of my real wins required that. Atkins was a 45-day sprint with an end in sight. The walk built slowly. I didn't start at 8.5 miles. I got there. Both real wins were forgiving on the way up, and the only place never miss or it's ruined shows up is in the version I never actually started. Now here's where you might be expecting me to announce something, the big plan, the 40-day challenge, the fresh start that begins Monday. I'm not going to do it because if I did, every one of you who's ever made that announcement and watched it fall apart would know exactly what it's worth. You made that speech, so have I. So I'm just going to tell you the truth and stand in it. Here's my pattern. I land a rhythm. I lock it. I'm actually good while it holds. I ride it for as long as it lasts, and then life knocks it offline, and I have no way to restart it. So I move on to the next thing, and the old rhythm just stays there on the floor where it fell. I'm at 198 pounds, and I have a treadmill that works 10 steps from where I'm sitting, and I haven't solved this. Tonight, I don't have the answer. I just have the truth. But I'll leave you with the one thing I think I'm starting to see. Maybe the answer was never to want it more. Maybe the rhythms that survive aren't the ones we summon out of willpower. Maybe they're the ones we give a witness and a number and an end. The ones we stop leaving in the dark to be remembered and start building a place for out where the day can't steal them. I'm still that man on the sidewalk, in the dark, On the broken ground, eyes on the light, I know I can walk the whole thing without a stumble. I've done it. I just have to stop waiting to remember the walk and give it somewhere to live. I'm not above you on this. I'm in it with you. We'll figure it out in the same way, and we'll do it one day at a time, and we'll do it one day better.